All right. Okay. Great.
Okay. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, Jared and Lorianne. That was awesome. That was good stuff. So I get to do this next session, which is fun. So I'm going to call up Alicia from Tishman Speyer. Alicia, meet everybody. This is our awesome audience. So how many New Yorkers do we have in here? Tishman Speyer. Do you see that name absolutely everywhere? Right? And you know it as a real estate developer type company, and its name is on all these buildings. But Alicia is going to tell us a lot more about Tishman Speyer as a platform, and we're going to get into some cool stuff that you're going to see that you just did not know that she is doing. So Alicia, tell us about Tishman Speyer.
Well, thank you very much. I joined Tishman Speyer about a year ago. And at the time, I was, as very similar to the previous conversation you were having, I was leading brand at Casper. And when I started to think about Tishman Speyer and have conversations, I knew it very similar to what all of you had experienced. But what I didn't know was really just how diverse the portfolio was and what they were doing on the venture side and what they were doing in the life sciences area and what they were doing on residential, and how they had a community platform called Zoe that connected everyone who's in any of the Tishman Speyer buildings, and how that included both programming and a number of other components. And I started to get really excited about what was there. When I was 5, I grew up in Nebraska, and when I was 5, my ballet teacher, Miss Stephanie, became a rockette. And so she moved to New York, and, I would come to New York, and my grandparents spent a little bit of time here, and I would visit. And so as I was going through the interview process at Tishman Speyer, they took me to the roof of Radio City Music Hall. And to my surprise, after walking through the lingua franca store at Rockefeller Center, there's a little back elevator. And I went to the roof, and on the roof, there was a park. And I was in shock. I didn't know there was a park on top of Radio City Music Hall. And second of all, I think the little 5-year-old in me, who had, been excited about her ballet teacher, was getting very excited. And as I started to see, how spaces impact collaboration and creativity and what you put out into the world. I had spent so much time on the brand side at Ralph Lauren, where I had, worked in retail and worked on existing brands that were heritage brands, but also launched new brands like Denim and Supply Ralph Lauren. And then I had gone to Peninsula Hotels, very focused on hospitality. And then I had been most recently at Casper. And I started to feel in that moment, standing on the top of Radio City Music Hall, that perhaps I had found the company that combined all of those things. And that was going to be my next job. And so I realized I was never going to be a rockette, and that dream was going very far away. But I did want to be the CMO of Tishman Speyer. And it's been really amazing to join a company that is much more focused on the people in the buildings than the buildings themselves. And I think that's been the biggest surprise for me.
Wow. Is this park open to the public, or?
Well, the park is open to anybody who is a Tishman Speyer customer. And it is a place that you can go and have lunch over your lunch break, or you can go up there and work. There's a little indoor-outdoor space. And so I think the surprise as you start to explore something like Rock Center is that there's all of these kinds of places that if you're a customer there, you have access to, places you can work, places you can have meetings, places you can work, or meet friends. And so it is a place. We have had a couple of things that have happened there that have been open to the public. During the US Open, we did an event in partnership with Rothy's and Evian. And so that was at that time open.
That's amazing.
Find a friend who works at NBC or Lazard and have them take you to Radio Park, or email me and I'll take you.
That's incredible. Now, you talked about Rockefeller Center.
Yes.
And you launched something November 14th. Is that correct?
We did.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So it is an exciting time of year at Rockefeller Center as we transition to the holidays. And so we did go up to Queensbury, New York, where we cut down the Christmas tree. And it took 2 days, and it arrived last Saturday at Rockefeller Center. And we will have the tree lighting on the 30th. And so on the 14th, we launched a campaign called The Heart of New York City. And that campaign launched with out of home and digital. And typically, we get around 4 million social impressions just around the tree, and you're starting to see, the momentum build around that. And so that campaign, is now live, and we, invite everyone to come down and see the tree, and, you can climb the scaffolding if you give me a call, and have a special Rockefeller Center moment.
That's awesome. Now, it's cool that you're doing this and everyone knows about the tree and all that. But I think what's different about it is really thinking about Rockefeller Center as a platform, right? As a media platform where brands come in. Share some of that thinking and how you guys work with various brands that come into Rockefeller Center, into your programming.
I think that was one thing that was really important to me as someone who had worked on the brand side for a number of years, had been on the agency side for a number of years. When you go and you do something different that's in an industry that you haven't done before, your worry is always, but I love brands and what they get to do. And so how am I going to feel not having, that piece? And so for me, we just launched this winter a partnership with Coach. They are the presenter of the rink. And so we've been really able to look at their story and how their story intersects with our story, and really find that mutual storytelling and really amplify what Coach is about and what they're doing and what's important to them. And so I think for us, we really look for those opportunities that are much bigger than putting a logo someplace, but really where we can bring that community and connection, because the Zoe platform enables us to help brands like Coach really amplify and get huge reach at a place like the rink. And we can bring influencers and VIPs and customers, and I think the previous conversation was like, keep doing those things. And when they work and you get the ROI, you just keep moving through it. So we have a built-in customer base that are really interested in the things that are happening. And so as a brand, we can reach them digitally through email. We can reach them by creating bespoke experiences for brands. And then we can also give them a place that millions and millions of people visit, and can have amplification. On the other side, last night we had an event with a newer brand. It's a sustainable brand called Another Tomorrow. It initially launched as a DTC brand, and they've been doing a lot of interesting things, and they are now at Rockefeller Center, and they came about a month ago. And so we had an event in partnership with Cultured Magazine. And I think what I'm excited about is Tishman Speyer is not just excited about brands coming to Rockefeller Center. We're really excited about their success once they're there. And so doing things that really help them get a new audience, drive sales, and make those successful is a focus for us.
So how does technology play into the success and measurement and those tools that you might be using to help these brands determine whether or not it was a success?
As you can imagine, as an investor ourselves, we are very numbers oriented and very focused on providing ROI. And so we have partnered very closely with our media agency, Known, and we really look at, what are the ways that we can ensure that brands are getting what they expect of us as a channel. And we really develop, a very robust plan in terms of what that is and put the numbers to it, and develop a dashboard and KPIs that we're aligning on together. And then we measure it and we hold ourselves accountable.
Do you, when you think of yourself as a channel, are you thinking yourself as, because I know there's a lot of programming, are you almost thinking of yourself as branded content opportunities for the brands that come in? Because you're creating programming with them in a lot of cases, right?
I mean, I think every day we're doing more and more. And so I think that we are both creating those experiences that really connect with customers. And then we're also able to develop content to reach even more people. And I think because of what we already have in place in all of our systems, we're able to really amplify that through our Zoe community platform, through, the followers that we have across all of our channels. This summer, we partnered with Flippers, which is a roller rink that was started by Liberty Ross and Jimmy Iovine. And so it was obviously very music platform focused. And we kicked that off with Usher on the 15th of April. And, I think what they were excited about as a new brand themselves, Flippers had been a roller rink in Los Angeles. And so they brought back the concept. They just opened in London a couple of weeks ago. So we were the first to relaunch that brand with them. And so a lot of what they were excited about was that platform. And as that marketing and a lot of their ticket sales, were coming through the Rockefeller Center channel. So we were able to deliver that to a newer brand that was really trying to get started. So I think whether it's a new brand or it's a more established brand, I think we look at what are the right levers to put in place to make those relationships successful.
So when thinking about that Zoe community, how do you spell it, by the way?
Z-O.
Oh, wow. Okay. I thought there was going to be more letters in there, silent or something. So when you think about the Zoe community, how is that just across everyone who's in a Tishman Speyer building?
It
right?
is.
Is that how that works?
So the Zoe community works in a couple of different ways. Anybody who is in a Tishman Speyer building globally is invited to join Zoe. Zoe is an app that you download. And what it gives you is access to spaces. So if you're at 200 Park or you're at the Spiral, we are just opening the Spiral, which is at the top of the High Line. It's opening in about 2 months. We partnered with the architect Björk Ingels, and it's 66 floors with outdoor space on every single floor. And at the top, the 66th floor we saved. We are not giving it to any one single customer. We're giving it to the entire community. And that will be a Zoe lounge that everybody will have access to. So if you were in that building, you will be able to go up there and utilize that, have meetings, have food and beverage, have, other things that you want to do there. And we give you global access. So if you have that and you're a customer at Rockefeller Center, you can go use those in other cities, and you can use those in other locations. So it's part clubhouse based, it's part programming based and getting invited to different experiences. And then you also receive various perks and discounts. And, if you want a percentage off your Sweet Green, you can have that too.
It's amazing. So we'll do questions from the audience. So I'm sure we're going to continue getting some more good stuff. So if you have questions, let me know. But with that platform, how do you work with a brand partner who says, okay, are you out of home? Are you content? Are you what? Like, how do they think of you in there? We heard it earlier, the omni-channel mix, right? Like, where do you fall in that whole mix?
Yeah, I mean, I think it really depends on the relationship that we're cultivating and what's important to them. And I think we really start with understanding the brand's goals, right? And what they feel like that gap may be and where we can come in and fill that. And so sometimes that may be, an out-of-home experience. Sometimes that may be experiential. And sometimes it may just be, the direct digital reach that we have. And so I think it's one of those things, the previous conversation was like, you do something and then you do more of what's working. I think that's the world we live in, right? And I think we're all learning every day. We provide, partners with the information, which is the traffic and, what you're getting. We give you all of that as a basis. So you have that. And then we really try to just build it together. But I think what's kind of exciting for me as a marketer that's been looking at all of these, channels, is really looking at how we can bring all of those together for partners in one place with one platform, to really storytell.
Got it. And one more follow-up there is, when you're thinking about the Tishman Speyer brand and what you need to do, how much do you spend just talking to everyone inside the buildings and talking within the buildings versus talking outside of the buildings who are not yet in the buildings, right? You know what I mean? Like the endemics versus the out of the buildings.
So somebody actually asked me a question about this yesterday because we were having a conversation about what percentage of time, do you spend talking to your internal teams versus talking to your external teams. And I have sort of set a rule for myself that I want to spend 70% to 80% talking to people outside of the building, because at the end of the day, I think looking at what's happening in the world, what's happening from a cultural perspective, what's important to people, again, we've demonstrated over the years that we are excellent at building inspiring spaces that people want to spend time. That is an area of expertise that we carry with us. Being much more focused with the people in the buildings, I think you have to spend time thinking about what people need in order to, want to engage there. And so I think it's really important to just continue to have conversations with people and learn what they need and then adapt. I don't think, what people wanted a year ago is the same to what they want today. And I don't think it's going to be any different. I think that will continue to evolve over the next year to 3 years to 5 years. And so I think that's an area where I think we're very committed to, innovation. And it's why we started, TS Ventures, and we've invested in companies like, everything from Blank Street Coffee, which you're seeing, all over New York now, to Tempo, which is, fitness tech, to Republic, and also Open Space, that is a prop tech company that, helps with the construction process. And so I think we're just really committed to always trying to beat ourselves in what we're doing and take in what's happening around us and bring that into what the people in the buildings really want.
Wow. Question for Ed. Do you have a question for Alicia?
Mm-hmm. We work with more access and more benefits to it. It sounds like you're monetizing some of the space out there. I love that. But my question is more about your what you describe as, in my world, experiential. It's really this experiential production that you're doing. And so you mentioned Flipper. Was that also done at the Rock Center ice skating rink?
It was. It became a roller rink this summer. Yes, it opened in April, and we just turned it over to, and now it's the ice rink.
And what are some of the other spaces that you do this with?
We do these with any available space that we have, which is quite a bit. So last night we had a conversation at 200 Park with Martha Stewart and the owner of the River Cafe from London. So that was a conversation there. And in other cases, we're looking for places. We did a big activation at Rock Center, not down, but at the top for Mexico Week, and we celebrated and had a market where you could come and enjoy a number of different food vendors, and we had artists and partnered with artists from Mexico, and we also had Casa Dragonis partner with us, as well as Dos Equis. So depending on what is sort of happening within our broader communities, we're looking to be a place that is really for each culture, for each, New Yorker, and really an invitation to everyone around the world.
What's Casa Dragonis? Because that to me sounds like House of Dragons in South America.
Tequila.
Very
good
I thought it was
tequila.
the South American version of House of Dragons. Yeah, you had a question back there.
It's very obvious, Alicia, why you chose this brand. It's so interesting, your journey, though. But by the way, I can speak for the room. I now want to work in the Tishman Speyer building that you inspired.
Right.
I'm curious what the transition's been like to go from like a real consumer-oriented brand like you can see in Casper and like a luxury brand like Ralph Lauren to really a B2B focus is what you have now, I would assume, right? Has that been a strange transition for you professionally?
I think for me, I was really excited about the transition. And I think what I have found is that, the Tishman Speyer brand was one that is a really strong brand, and people that know it, really know it. And the opportunity is in sort of taking what has always been there and letting people know what that's about. And so I think those commitments as a brand to things like, they've been really focused on sustainability and ESG, not just in the past few years as that's become necessary. And so what are those things as a brand they've been doing? And innovation and community and partnership. And, in San Francisco, we've been partnering with the San Francisco Giants on a new development called Mission Rock. And that includes residential as well as life sciences, as well as office. And we're building a park along the waterfront that overlooks the San Francisco Giants stadium, where you can kind of see that. And I think for me, it is a real combination of B2B and B2C. And that's something I found that I really enjoyed, because you get to really think about those audiences and you can't just entertain them. Right? On the B2C side, sometimes you can really look at, what are those levers that we're going to pull, and then we're going to do more of that, right? And at Casper, we were really focused on, bringing out that joy and that zing and, and all of those things. And I love that brand and loved working on that brand. But I think when you go and you're thinking about things like investors and, all of those components, you have to really think about those messages and really develop, a pretty complex matrix on the marketing side from a messaging standpoint.
Well, I would say it's very clear you're a luxury brand, because it is more for more. The rent's too damn high at Tishman Speyer, but you get so much nice, cool things and good stuff to do. Not your fault on the rent, but you get all this nice, cool stuff. You get to be a part of everything. You get to do all this. So the value is there for a company to do more, and for even a new company or an established company to come in and add value to their organization and the people inside, right?
It's true. I also think one thing that might surprise people is that we actually also have a platform called Studio. And Studio is our flexible work platform. And so whether you're a single business owner or you're a business that just needs flexibility because you're growing and you're going from C to Series A and you're, needing that flexibility, we also have studio space in most of our buildings. And so that's something that in this time has been growing quite a bit and is something that we'll continue, to partner with. So you actually can get all of the Tishman Speyer benefits regardless of your size of business.
I like. Other question. So here's one I have for you.
Okay.
2023 is almost here.
Yes.
What are you working on for next year that you haven't told anybody yet that you're really excited about? What can you tip us off on? Maybe not give all the details, but give us something that is coming next year that you're really excited about.
I'm really excited to tell the Tishman Speyer story. I think I have always looked for brands that have a level of authenticity where as a marketer, you're just getting to really be kind of a steward of the brand. And, when I went from the agency side where I had launched the Rock Band franchise and I had done fragrance and I had done some things with Sony and Samsung. When I went to the first brand, I chose Ralph Lauren because it started with a tie and he built $1 billion brand. And there was really a level of authenticity that you felt, and you walked into the building and you saw Ralph. And, you saw David, who oversaw the marketing team. And there was just such an intense commitment to that. And what you were saying and sharing was real. And I think for me, what I'm most excited about is what many people may think about the Tishman Speyer brand. They know that it's buildings, but I'm really excited to just tell more of the stories of how it's really this really unique platform focused on people And we get to keep figuring out what people want and delivering that to them. And I think as a marketer, we're all focused on that customer journey and that customer experience. And I think what I really love about it is the product that you're delivering is that entire experience. And my favorite part of walking into a building every day is when I see Jason, who welcomes me. And then I say, good
Jason
night.
Tishman?
No, Jason, who works as a greeter in the lobby. And then I say good night to him. And he is just amazing. And so I think what people don't know that Tishman Speyer, those are all Tishman Speyer employees. We're not outsourcing that. So that person has the same brand ethos that anybody who's doing any other job for the company has.
Awesome. What are the names of the Tishman and Speyer? Do they have real names more than that? Or is it, where does the name come from? I'm assuming it's like Ron Tishman and Lisa's, whatever.
Rob Speyer is the CEO. Yeah.
Got it. Okay. Excellent. Any other questions for Alicia?
What were some of the most creative uses of space with your buildings when brands would come in and have these activations that you just been really excited about?
I think most recently, I was really excited to see what Rothy's and Evian did at Radio Park. It's beautiful. It has a lot of press coverage, so you can see the photos that were done. I think just, as a New Yorker, when you can kind of find those unexpected places, you feel very tucked in because there's the buildings all around it, and it was in the evening, and it was just really, beautiful. I also think just a lot of the art programming that we do in the public spaces is really amazing. We partnered with Derek Adams, an art production fund, and we did 4 unicorns that you could actually, it was like you were going to a fun playground in the summer and you could actually get on them like you were a 5-year-old and sit on that and rock back and forth, and it had the springs at the bottom. So I think walking down the Channel Garden and kind of coming across that is a little bit of like a whimsical surprise. And then you walked a little bit further and you ran into a Jeppe Hein fountain. And so we had a lot of people in front of 30 Rock. The fountain went up and down and you could actually stand in the fountain. And so it was just like pure summer joy in New York, watching people come and go in and out of that fountain.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alicia. I hope you all enjoyed learning about Tishman Speyer the way I did. I was wonderfully pleased to hear all the really cool things you're doing, and congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone. All right, we are going to lunch, right? Lunch. It's lunchtime. Lunchtime. Steak, shrimp, salad.